Good evening, everybody. Welcome in to Follow Everton. It is the match preview for Monday night's fixture at Leicester City, a place where we've actually performed well a little bit as of late. Not that I want to dwell on this too much, but just to give you a score update, Liverpool have just added a third. It was 2-0 on 5 minutes, and now it's 3-0 on 15 minutes. And I don't care at all about the shite and about Liverpool. It's more of just to say, my, how far down Spurs have fallen, haven't they, Geoff? What's going on? Or I guess what isn't going on? There's too much going on.
I think that, when you've got a manager of the stature of Conte, and Conte tells you something, you listen. And he spoke about mentality and mentality weakness. And so that's clearly evidence that they're a mentally weak group of players who remind me of another team.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll. I don't know if they'll be getting refunds this time around, but we'll.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But enough about that. I don't really feel like glorifying the shite at the moment. So,
No.
But back to Everton, we've got enough nonsense to worry about on our hands. Hey to everybody in the chat, smash that like button, subscribe, and all that good stuff. We appreciate that. Thanks for joining us today. Lots to talk about. We touched on a little bit in the last couple of days, be it we even started to in the Newcastle post-match, obviously in the watch-alongs I touch on Monday, and how much this is usually the time, either the day before or the day of, whatever, where I start to get a little bit of confidence. And I think, I try to come up with scenarios that Everton can find a way. And if this player does this and if this player does that, and I got to say, I'm not coming up with anything for Monday. And I don't know if it's just the aftermath of Newcastle and Fulham, or if it's just what I've seen for a while, or if I'm just, honestly, if I'm just numb to it. But I feel sick, and I feel that this could get ugly very early. And quite frankly, I think, I hate to use the term, we're going to get battered, but I could see that. What say you?
Yeah. God. As we just spoke about before we started the stream, people have a bit of an impression of me that I'm kind of negative, and I'm really not. I'm really not a negative person. I'm just a realist, and I look at this Everton team, and we had to beat Fulham. We had to beat Fulham. That was the game where you just thought, if we can win this game, that gets us clear of trouble. It gives us some confidence. We've got another home game coming up after that. We've got a shout here.
Against a team that had nothing to play for, had lost 5 in a row, was missing their best player, and quite frankly, were out for a jog that day.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I'm seeing, is that the motto of this club is nil satis nisi optimum. Nothing but the best is good enough, and their best isn't good enough. Our players, I tried talking to Jan when we were in the car about some of the things he said, and he was like, I've heard people talk about the lack of effort, or the players weren't trying, and I don't agree with that. I think those players tried their best, and their best just was nowhere near good enough.
Right.
They do not have the quality. They do not have the ability. They don't have the mental capacity. They're not smart footballers. And they're mentally weak. And so they just fold like wet paper. And I wish I wasn't having to say those things, because I'd love to be positive about it. I'd love to be even 50-50 positive about Everton. But my eyes work, and I know what I'm watching. My eyes work, and I know what I'm watching. And what I'm watching is a team that huffs and puffs and tries without ever really looking like they're taking the game to someone. And then as soon as the effort drops a little bit, or as soon as a mistake comes in, bang, it's a goal the other way. And then you're like, oh my God, right, now we need We don't just need one; we need two because it's a home game.
I mentioned, how are we ever going to get one anyway? Where's the creativity? Where's the idea? Who is actually going to step up? And I mean, yes, 1-0 down. We've 1-0 down. We've found a way before. We at least, when it's in striking distance, there is at least a little bit of a mentality of maybe we could do it. We go 2-0 down. The game's far beyond over, but the players are already back on the coach or whatever in their own cars, whatever it is. It's funny you say that about I have eyes or my eyes work, because anytime I ever get any shtick from overseas about being an American and not worthy to have an opinion, which does happen from time to time, that's pretty much my argument. I have eyes, and I have eyes and a brain, and I can tell when dross is dross. It's really not that difficult. Quick look at the table. It's quite frankly the most worthy definition of a 6-pointer. It's 2 teams in the bottom 3. Leicester are on 18th. Everton are on 19th. Both Leeds and Forest results this week went our way. And if you really want to consider West Ham still in this mix, the West Ham result went our way, although I think that they'll find a way given their upcoming fixtures. But we'll get to more of that in a minute. But Everton are on 28 points with a -25 goal difference. Leicester need not worry about the goal difference when being compared to their surrounders. They are on 29 points, 1 point above us and 1 point below Leeds and Forest. So quite frankly, and what could possibly, what's that?
I'm just saying hello to Becky. I'm just reading the comments.
Good to see you, Becky. From a simple mathematical perspective, and I want to be very, very clear, I don't want to play for a draw. I want to be going for the win if that is there for the taking. What I'm going to say is, if something happens tomorrow, no matter what the controversy is, if the game ends 1-1, 2-2, and we get 1 point out of this, 1 point for Leicester moves them to 16th on goal difference. 1 point for Everton moves them 1 point behind all 3 of these teams, and more importantly, leaves it still in our hands for the most part. Obviously, technically, that's not the case, but Leeds, Forest, they won't win all their games. That's just a fact. And also, Everton won't either. I know our fixtures are tough. All I'm saying is, if there is a draw tomorrow, it is not the absolute end of the world. It's a problem. We need to win tomorrow, but in terms of a must-win game, I think it's more of must not lose. I hope we don't play like that. I hope on 75 minutes, if it's 1-1, we go for it. But one thought. Just quickly, from a Leicester perspective, while they want to go for the win too, for most intents and purposes, a draw takes Leicester to 16th. So I wonder from their management perspective, if it's drawn on 75, 80 minutes, whatever, if they will play for the draw. I don't think so, but it wouldn't, it wouldn't at least surprise me, given they haven't won a lot of games lately either. They have a win a couple of games ago, but that's one of their only wins, if not their only, in the last maybe 12 or 13 games. Would they be okay with a draw? That's something for a Leicester fan. But for us, hope we go for the win. I'm curious if we get the draw. The attitude will be bad after the game, but it won't be the end of the world. Go ahead, Geoff.
Right. So my opinion on the game tomorrow. It's there to be won. That's a definite certain, right? It is there to be won.
Right.
Leicester have been in really bad form. They're defensively poor. They're a really defensively poor side. We can get at them, especially from set pieces, especially from corners and things like that.
Right.
They're not the quickest in defence either. So there is some cause for optimism if we actually turn up and play. So, and also the confidence and also confidence is fragile for both sides. And so either side get an early goal, it's going to put pressure on the other side,
Correct.
Which creates more mistakes. So, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that we've got absolutely no chance and we're going to get battered. That entirely could happen. But, there is a possibility we could do well. Hopefully, DCL has got some fitness under his belt. I'm praying. Like I've literally got a prayer mat under the counter here. That Seamus will be fit, because our right back situation is dreadful. I don't know why Patterson's not playing. That's a question for the Sean, manager,
for which he won't answer, by the way.
No, and to be honest, I was quite positive about the Dyche appointment because I thought he was a pragmatic, functional manager who would come in, set us up, make us hard to beat,
and command respect. Quite frankly,
yeah. And what's actually happened is we could see so many more goals. We're even worse at defensively now than we were, which I don't know how that's even possible.
Exactly.
I just don't. That third goal, the Isaac goal.
The fourth goal.
Yeah, the fourth goal. Sorry, that was some of the poorest defensive work.
It's a mockery. Yeah,
it was pathetic because I mean, I heard some of the rant about Gordon on as you were doing the stream after the match the other day, and it was like, oh, Gordon, he's an absolute disgrace. But the thing is that Isaacs ran past 3 other players before he ran past Gordon.
Oh, Godfrey, you mean Ben Godfrey?
Yeah, Godfrey. Sorry, he ran past 3 other players before he ran past Gordon. So it's not like Gordon was, the reason why we conceded that goal. He ran past Keane and he ran past Garner as well, and he turned someone else inside out as well, and then scored that goal, and he slotted it on the near post, so the goalkeeper wasn't even like covering his near post either. So, we look like a team. We look like Bambi on ice. That's what we look like. We look like Bambi on ice. That's what the team looked like. And that's the fragility of the confidence. And then I see players coming out and saying, rallying cries and all this kind of nonsense. And it's like, I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. I don't want to, we gave them a coach, but we did our part in that game. We turned up, we cheered the players, we did the coach welcome. The atmosphere was great at the start of the game. And it made no difference. It really made no difference. They tried for the first half, but without really ever looking like threatening, and conceded a really stupid goal. And then the second half was just, it was just pathetic. Pathetic is the best word for it. And I was just left with the opinion of, this is not a Premier League team. We are not a Premier League team. And I don't like saying that, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong. This is not a Premier League standard team. And the results that we've seen, bears that out.
That point, sure.
Yeah. So people are, be optimistic, be hopeful. That's fine. Don't throw in the towel. Don't, it's not all over until it's over and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's all fine. But don't get your hopes up too high.
Yeah, let's go through some of the comments. Speaking of, Becky says Bournemouth have been remarkable. And I only want to touch on Bournemouth because people forget that just 5-6 weeks ago, Bournemouth were 19th. Bournemouth were just lost. They couldn't score a goal. And then all of a sudden, the signings that they've made in January now making a huge difference, which makes us more pathetic, quite frankly. But what Bournemouth have done recently have been fantastic. I'd like to think there's optimism there, but I think it's just a different situation. We can't play scared. No, you're absolutely right. A lot of comments about if we concede first. I think the first goal, I mean, it's not rocket science to say it's pivotal. I think it's not we've come back from conceding first, so that's not the worst thing in the world. It's a matter of if we go down 2-0, the game's over. But we've touched on that enough. Everton have been ahead of the initiative once more. This won't happen too many more times. The time for action is now. A win will give Everton the boost to have enough. I actually agree. I think if we win the game, I think we're staying up, and I think it's only because the other teams are so poor and have such a bad run of fixtures. I think that we will have enough that if we find this win, then I think we'll get at least 1, 2, 3 points the rest of the season. And quite frankly, I think that will be enough. But that's, again, can't stress enough.
The fact that we still have a chance, despite how awful we've been, is actually miraculous. The fact that we're not adrift, and that we still genuinely have it in our own hands to get ourselves out of this mess,
right?
Is miraculous. I mean, the results this weekend have all done us a massive favour.
And it's not always going to be that way. Especially, Forest.
But now
Forest
it's our time to actually take advantage finally of the opportunity that we've been handed.
Right.
And take the win. And I don't think a draw is good enough. I don't personally, because I don't see us winning at Brighton. I do not see us beating Man City, obviously.
Then it's away at Wolves, and that's the one that some people think I don't
see.
Away at
Wolves is a difficult game. They're a really good footballing side. Yeah, they've got weaknesses and they can crumble, same as us.
They did just get beat 6-0 yesterday, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. So they can collapse, but they've also got some really good players.
And they've also shown they can win games. I mean, people forget that before yesterday, I want to say Wolves had won 3 or 4 before yesterday.
Yeah, they have,
they're at least proving they can win games. And now they're on 37 points.
So I'm just hoping they're going to be on the beach when we play them, because if they don't turn up, they are beatable. And then obviously we've got Bournemouth, and it's like, oh yeah, if we get a win on but Bournemouth have been playing amazing football, so it's none of these results are a given that
And I'd like to sit here and say, well, Bournemouth will be on the beach, but it doesn't matter, because people forget that if you put even let's pretend, okay, let's pretend Bournemouth are on the beach.
I know what you're going to say as well.
No, well, all I'm going to say is if Bournemouth are on the beach, that means they'll probably be playing players that don't get a lot of minutes. Those players are going to be hungry because they don't get a lot of minutes. And if we play a team with pace, I don't care what the name on their jersey is, they're going to do us over, because it's just we can't compete with a team that's hungry and that has pace. No. Real quick, I want to thank our buddy Pete, who has chipped in a couple of pounds for Geof's setup. And so we're going to set Geof up with my mate Pete. Thank you, buddy, very much. We'll get Geof sorted eventually. But Geof just he has fun with us. Doesn't matter what it looks like. He said today he couldn't be bothered with the screen. I'm okay with it. I kind of like the backdrop here. It's a homey feel. We're in Geof's kitchen. I love it. Or wherever we are over there.
Yeah, it's a kitchen.
Yeah. I love it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. No, if you play a team with pace, it's going to be a problem, and that's why it doesn't even. Well, before I get to that point, let me give you our last 5. Just on form, we've gotten 2 points from a possible 15. 2 draws, 1 at Palace, and then 1 at home against Spurs. Quite frankly, that's another one you can point to as a team we should have beaten. Just a stupid play from Decore, and even then we still look the better side with 10 men. But that's somewhat far in the past at this point. But 3 losses out of the last 4, 1 away, 1 away loss, and then 2 at home. Leicester's last 5, 3 losses, a win, and a draw, but the win and the draw are the most recent. They've gotten 4 points from their last 6. So in terms of very, very recent form, they have looked a bit better. Everton at Leicester, though, as much as we've struggled away, that's actually been a place that we've not hated to play. We've won the last 2 at the King Power. We've won 3 out of the last 4. Some reason for optimism, I guess. If we find an away win, it's usually at Leicester, Geof. Obviously, we remember the one last season. Mikalenko's stunner.
I had a stat for you, didn't I?
Go ahead. What you got for me?
Yeah, this isn't a good one, though.
Uh-oh. Here we go. I don't want to hear that you're not negative if you're ruining my positivity party with this, but go on.
The manager,
Dean
what's
Smith.
His name?
Yeah,
Dean Smith.
This isn't going to be fun. You're right.
No, we've come up against him 7 times and he hasn't lost any of them.
Right.
He's got a better record against us than any manager apart from, I think, Mourinho.
I remember, I don't remember every Villa match, but I remember a couple of them, and I particularly remember Dean Smith at Norwich last season. Norwich are dead bottom and haven't scored in at least 4 matches, and they put 2 in the first 20 minutes. Richarlison grabs 1 back in the second. Whatever. That's a game I don't even want to worry about. But no, you're right. Dean Smith has had Everton's number. Not exactly our favorite one to go face. So those stats, I guess, sort of cancel each other out. And again, all of these stats mean nothing because these are completely different teams. I think that just quite frankly, at this point with Leicester's pace, with Harvey Barnes, with James Maddison, with Jamie Vardy, with Daka, yes, Iheanacho's out with either a groin or a hamstring injury, whichever one it is. Iheanacho's probably out for the rest of the season. As a matter of fact, I have their injuries right here. If we want to give me 1 second. It is Iheanacho's out, and James Justin has been ruled out on their defense as well. And other than that, I mean, they have a couple of others on the injury report, but these top 2 are the only ones that really matter in terms of a from a starting perspective, in my opinion. But that's not really going to affect them too much from attacking perspective. Yes, Iheanacho is great, but the ones that I just named are enough to beat our weak defense.
Now this is where I give, like, I am being negative, but I can also be positive. I know Vardy's just scored, and he hadn't scored in about 20 games. But he's older than he was, and he isn't the same player he was 3 or 4 years ago. Iheanacho being out is a positive. And so if we can actually competently defend for a change, we can close them down and stop them from getting at us. And I think that we have to look at ourselves, and it's up to us. We have to go and win the game. We have to go and win the game, and we have to play with some kind of ambition, because to me at this point, like, if we get a draw at the end of the game, then yeah, we can sit there and discuss the meaning of that point, whether it's valuable or not. But realistically, we have to go out to this game and go, we need to win this game. So we have to play like we have to win this game.
Right.
And we have to play 100% and just go for it. We've got a striker who he's got a couple of games under his belt now, so hopefully he's starting to feel up to speed. We've got people who can get the ball into him. We've got some of the bigger players who, you know, Decore and Onana back, who can cause problems in the box. So we have to be looking to get at them. Their defense is not great.
It's poor, exactly.
So this is a game that we can win if we go for it. If we don't play negative, if we don't play with fear, we just have to go for it and just go for it 100%. No half-assed measures, no sitting back and trying to hold out for as long as possible. Just go at them from the first whistle. That's what I want to see. I want to see a team that, if we're going to go down, like, if you're going to lose a fight, throw some punches.
Start swinging, exactly.
Yeah, just start swinging. And if you get knocked out, you get knocked out. Fair enough. But you've thrown everything you've got and you've lost, and that's fine. And I can accept that. You know, we're not good enough. Fair enough. Sorted. But playing with fear and playing with like just a lack of ambition, that's what's really grinding my gears, because it's like, why are we bringing Neil Maupay on? He is not. I don't care like what he did at other clubs. For us, he's been an absolute non-entity. He's pointless. Why are we bringing him on instead of bringing on Sims? Sims like might actually do some damage. Where's Damari Gray gone? Why is he not getting a game anymore? Like, at least he's not a consistently good player. He's a 1 in 5, 1 in 10 player. But if you're looking for someone to pop up with a goal from nowhere, he's one of the 2 or 3 players you would pick.
He can provide pace, a spark, draw, a free kick, anything. He can at least.
Yeah, and he scores a winning goal every now and then, and that's what we need. I think Iwobi has been absolutely dog. I can't swear. He's been awful.
He's been poor. Yeah,
he has been dreadful. I personally would drop him, and I would play a 3 in midfield, and I would bring Garner in and drop Iwobi. And I think I would probably play Gray.
Yeah, I don't see. We've got some argue a little bit of a back and forth in the comments just about Damari Gray. Wezo's saying he was only. I think he's speaking of Damari Gray. He was only dropped for 1 game. I'm pretty sure he's been dropped for more, unless I'm wrong. I
think he's been dropped for more.
Yeah, unless. I could be wrong. Maybe Damari Gray did play against Palace. I'd have to go look. But Damari Gray has not been great lately. I want to have that right. But at the same time, what we've seen also hasn't been great. And Damari Gray at least offers a little bit more from a scoring perspective than the alternatives at this point. Chloe says that I can't find oh, there it is. We lost to Leicester at Goodison. If we open up against them, we'll concede. I want to touch on that because we have played Leicester this season. It was in November of last season. And I remember exactly where I was because my university is LSU. And in college football, LSU is one of the top teams. I was at the biggest game of the year that day at the tailgate watching Everton Leicester on my phone and watching us get turned over, which was at that point, I think we had been on a somewhat decent run of form. And so you expected that we would beat Leicester, and all we did was lay a goose egg, and Leicester beat us 2-0. We know about the win last season. But until that,
without them even playing very well.
Yeah, but until that, from the past 2 seasons, we had 2 wins and 2 draws, so we hadn't lost to Leicester in a while until that match. So we have played well against this team lately. Obviously, in past seasons doesn't always translate to this, but we have a 2-0 loss to show for it. This
thing is, though, like you said before, it's an important game for them as well because, they're looking at this game and thinking that if they win, they probably only need another a win and a draw maybe from their remaining games, and they're probably safe.
Right.
But they also must have a little bit of fear that if it goes wrong and they lose, then they're in deep doings, aren't they? So
yeah, that's the thing. People obviously this is an Everton chat, so a lot of our focus will be on Everton, but people do forget this game is just as important for Leicester as it is for Everton. Yeah. And we haven't been looking at it from that perspective, I guess. And again, their supporters, I'm sure, had not much reason for optimism until their last 2 games. So things can get turned around quick. But the difference to me is that, maybe it's just from an outsider's perspective. I wonder what Leicester fans think. I wonder if they think the same thing we think in terms of we don't really have anybody who will step up. I don't see it that way. I see Leicester. Maybe I'm giving Harvey Barnes too much credit. Maybe I'm giving James Maddison too much credit. I don't think I am. But I haven't watched every second of their football.
Right. So just going on the bits and pieces I've heard from various Leicester fans, I think that what they've been seeing this season is a team full of players who don't want to be there anymore.
Right.
Maddison, he's definitely going to be going in the summer. He wanted to be gone before. Barnes has not been the same player for a while. I think obviously when the manager left as well, the things had already started going wrong. Hey Nick, you're right. So yeah, I think what we're seeing is an end of an era type team. They had sort of their glory period. They won the trophy, and then they got the gobshite in to manage them. And they did all right, they did all right for a while, but things run their course. Some players have aged out. Some players have decided they're too big for Leicester and will want to move on.
Right.
And so there's been a certain sort of lack of heart from certain players, and a lack of grit and fight is what I've been hearing. Is that they're the team don't have the same get up and go as they had,
right?
And so they need, they need a rebuild, and obviously the club financial situation, like ours, has been difficult, and so they've lost players, but they haven't necessarily been able to replace some of them. So they've been muggling through and picking up the odd win here and there, but they've been also letting themselves down quite a lot as well. So, they're slightly, they've got some better players than us in certain positions, but in other positions, they've got players that are worse than us. Yeah, they're just as bad. So it's like I said, this is a game we have to target. We have to target it. They are beatable.
It must be said as well. People talk about where we were 2 years ago with Ancelotti fighting for top 4 and what a collapse it's been. Leicester for the past 3 seasons have finished 5th, and 8th in the table. So this is quite a collapse for them as well. Leicester were a side that really they really bottled Champions League qualification 2 seasons in a row, and then last season they were still fighting for it for most of the year. So again, the collapse really just in 1, maybe 2 years, if you give it that, for Leicester has been quite monumental too. I want to get to I don't know if you have a set lineup or a set formation ready, Geoff, but if you do, how do you see it playing out? Obviously Pickford in goal, and I'll let you take it from there.
Right. Okay. So the team I expect we see is probably not the team I would want to see. So
I'm gonna no. Let's do this. I've got mine. I've got mine. Yes, I've got my team. I know Deitch will not do a couple of things here, but I've got what I want to see. You tell me what you want to see, given our squad, and don't say you want to see Richarlison. He's not on the team anymore. Go
ahead. Right. Okay. So Pickford in goal. I want to see Coleman at right back. I hope he's fit. He should be fit. So please let him be in there.
And if not Coleman, let's say he's not fit.
Oh God! I want to see Patterson play. I don't care.
Exactly.
I want to see Patterson play.
That's the
he's
answer.
He's an actual left back, and people say, "Oh, he's this." It's like the other two have not done anything to show that they're better than Patterson. But Patterson has the advantage of being an actual left back and being able to get forward and contribute as well. So, right back. Sorry, yeah. So yeah, Patterson first choice. Coleman first choice. But if not him, I want Patterson. Yerry Mina has to start alongside Tarkowski.
Absolutely.
He's our best centre-back. I don't care about the injury thing. If he gets injured, there's 5 subs in football now. So if he gets injured, you can have any of the other dog shit defenders on the bench and it's fine. So, yeah, I'd love to see Mina and Tarkowski. Mikalenko has to play left-back because I think Godfrey's not a footballer.
Certainly not now. I mean, if his staunchest defenders, if you thought
he's an athlete.
Well, no, but hang on. If you thought he was a footballer before, after last week, he will not have confidence at all for the rest of the year. So
yeah, he's a sharp bolt now. Yeah. So yeah, Mikalenko left back, midfield, Garner, Onana, and Garner would be my
really?
3.
So you're dropping Decore then?
Sorry. Garner. Oh, that's interesting. Hang on a minute. Garner. Who did I say? Garner.
The trio has been typically Decore, Onana, and just a Ghana guy. No, you tell me though. I've got mine set. You tell me what you want to see.
Oh, that's a difficult one actually because Decore, I don't think he's a very good footballer either, realistically. So, if you drop Decore or Onana, I wouldn't think it would make much difference because they're neither particularly great on the ball. But I just want to see a bit more of an attacking lineup. So that's why I'd like James Garner in because he can actually pass the ball and he can run with the ball and he can play a ball between the lines, which is just something none of the other midfielders can do.
Right.
So yeah, and then I'd drop Iwobi and play Gray on the right. I think McNeil has to play on the left and DCL up front.
I've got us trying a 4-4-2 out, and I know that hasn't been the greatest, but I've got your exact back 5 with if you count Pickford, Mikalenko on the left, Tarkowski, Mina, and Seamus Coleman with the obvious. I've been a Nathan Patterson advocate for the last 3 weeks, but if he doesn't play if Coleman's not fit and he doesn't play Patterson, he needs to not be let back on the bus, in my opinion, because it's become a joke at this point. If I see Ben Godfrey on that pitch again, I'm going to feel awful for Ben Godfrey and worse for our team.
It's going to be so gay.
It's don't get me started. Unless Nathan Patterson's not fit, and they're not telling us that. If you have a fully fit Nathan Patterson and a fully fit Yerry Mina both on your bench and not playing, you absolutely need to be sacked that day. That's whatever. Dwight McNeil on the left. I'm putting James Garner on the right because I have to find a space for James Garner in this team. He's not set the world on fire, but he's been clearly better in the midfield in terms of actually just having an idea, having a plan. He wants to do something on the ball, with the ball, actually make the right pass rather than turn the ball over. Whether that's his natural position or not, I don't care. I have James Garner on the right side for me, and I have Idrissa Gana Gueye, and I'm going to do Onana in the middle. I'm dropping Decore because I think Decore could be useful to us, and I want to see now if Decore can be useful to us coming off the bench because it's not like he was dropped for very long. He was only dropped, he had a 3-match suspension and he comes in about as rusty as possible. And that just doesn't make any sense to me. So if I have to drop someone out of the middle 3, I'm dropping Decore to get James Garner on. I have Sims and Calvert-Lewin up top because I want to see if it works. I want to see if we have anything. I want to see if these two can actually have just a bit of chemistry, if McNeil can get these crosses in and actually have not only one head, but two heads to possibly bounce this off of. I'm tired of seeing Calvert-Lewin isolated up top. I'm tired of seeing Neil Maupay over Ellis Sims. I don't know what I'm missing. Again, I'm not pretending to be a football manager, but things are now becoming less complicated in terms of the things that Sean Dyche is messing up. Okay, the most obvious one being Godfrey at right back. I don't need to talk about it. We've killed that topic. His mate Michael Keane playing center half has become basically as equal of a joke. The experiment's not worked. We're conceding more goals. You just gave us that stat, etc. Why Neil Maupay is still getting a game over Ellis Sims? Don't get it.
No idea.
No clue why. It is what it is. Iwobi's been terrible. Maybe Iwobi can be a better sub off the bench. Maybe Damari Gray. We have options now. Again, can't stress enough. It's not like we're only looking at Tom Davis on the bench. We have Damari Gray that can come off the bench. We have Alex Iwobi. We have Maupay or Sims. I don't even care if you want to bring Maupay on at some point in the game. I'm not saying I never want to see him in an Everton shirt like a lot of other folks are saying. What I'm saying is he should not be getting games over Ellis Sims. And forget the fact that he shouldn't be getting a game at all. Stop bringing him on 3-0. Actually make a sub if we're down 1-0 and go for the game. It's all I've had.
And that brings me to the big issue for me. And it's one of those where of the options that were available, which weren't many, I was kind of happy that we got Dyche because I thought he's a solid coach. He'll play a set system, and it started well. But I'm getting annoyed with him now. His formations, his systems, his late substitutions, his refusal to play certain players. I'm starting to get as annoyed with him as I was with Lampard, and as annoyed as I was with the Spaniard. If the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result,
right?
It hasn't been working, but why do you still do it? Godfrey didn't work at right back when we played him at right back ages ago. You bring him in, you try it, it doesn't work. Why do you try him again? He is not a right back. He's not a footballer, in my opinion. He's an athlete. He can run quite fast. That's it. But he's not a footballer. He does. I don't know where he actually plays. I don't know what his value to the team is. He can't pass. And for a supposedly strong boy, he gets brushed off the ball so easily.
See, that's the thing. When he first came to Everton, his physicality and his grit, and that was a big quality. Where's that gone? He's got no physicality anymore. It's just gone. And forget talking about defending, because I've rarely, if ever, seen worse positioning from a footballer off the ball. He has no clue where to be when the ball's not near him.
Agree.
And it's just it's a bad combination.
That's why Mitalenko has to play left back for me, because it's one of those where people might say, well, if Seamus comes in, put Godfrey on the left, and it's like his positioning is dreadful. He's always out of position, and he can run fast. But genuinely, I'm struggling to kind of think of. He's not good in the air. So, he's not a centre-back because he's not good in the air. You can't be a centre-back if you're not at least competent in aerial challenges.
Yeah, if anything, that's one of the only. I mean, at least Keane has a little bit of height to him and does win a fair amount of headers. Not all of them, but
he scores a few goals as well. He's good in the air from set pieces as well. So
if we have to defend Michael Keane, let me just real quick. Let me run through some of these. Mina and Patterson have not impressed the gaffer in training. I'm not even buying that for a second. It's one of those where he likes Michael Keane because they're mates, and I don't know what the deal with Patterson is. If he hasn't impressed, then why is he still on we paid how many million for Patterson, who is an actual right back? No, you can't drop Decore. Well, that's just my team. That's fair. I don't think he's been very good lately.
That's a question, because this is a question that I have. A lot of people say certain things and they say oh, you can't do this and you can't do that, but they never say why, right? So we can't drop Decore. All right, so please, anyone in the comments, tell me what Decore actually does, because he's not good on the ball. His passing is dreadful. His defensive positioning is awful. He gets caught out so often.
He's shown that he gets wound up and has a bad temper.
He's tactically not particularly aware. So he runs around a lot. Is that a qualification to be a central midfielder, that he runs around a lot? Like, seriously? So, people defend certain different players, but I don't ever hear like some kind of reason for the defense, because it's like he drives us forward, does he? Like, to what end? That's the question mark, is to what end? He drives us forward. To what end? Because at the end of the drive, he loses the ball and we get countered on. That's generally what happens.
The turning over of possession by all of our midfielders is one of the most frustrating things I've seen in a bit. Andrew Marshall's lineup agrees with me from a 4-4-2 perspective, I assume. He's got Coleman. He's got the same defense with Idrissa Gana Gueye, Onana, Decore, Garner, Sims, and DCL. All I'll say is that you cannot, under any circumstances, put Dwight McNeil not in the starting lineup. He is probably
I was just going to say, you're missing Dwight McNeil there.
Yeah, I don't mind James Garner being in there. I get where you're coming from, but Dwight McNeil is my first name on the score sheet. He's been our best player for months at this point. And again, not saying a lot, but what it is saying is that's the only player that I can think of that actually has improved this season. But
put it this way, at the end of the season, if you're going to put a list of players I want to keep and players I want rid of,
it's very short.
McNeil would be on the bottom of the list of players I want rid of. He would be like, there's a lot of players I want rid of before I would want rid of him.
Right. 4-5-1, some shouts for that. I don't mind if we run a 4-5-1. I just hope we do it competently. Let's be honest. We gave our lineup. By the way, the lineup won't change. The only thing that might change is Coleman will be back if he's fit, but the defense will be the same. The midfield will be the same, and it'll be Calvert-Lewin up top, waiting for a ball that's never going to come to him. Hopefully it does. But Mark's throwing his lineup in. Patterson, Tarky, Connor Cody making an appearance again. I actually, at this point, hang on. I want to get to that in a second. McNeil, Decore, Onana, Gueye, Garner, DCL. So you have James Garner taking the spot of Alex Iwobi. I don't have a problem with that at all. And what I will say is, while I don't necessarily rate Connor Cody, given what I remember from him at this point, I don't mind that. I don't mind it if it's something different to try, because all we've seen is mostly failed Keane experiments. Maybe Connor Cody's got a different mindset to him. We know Cody was not poor all season. He was not good all season. Let's have it right. But Cody wasn't the worst defender. He did have a fairly bad run of form for 2 or 3 games, mental mistakes, falling asleep. I'll absolutely give you that. That's been months now, okay? What we've seen is Keane falling asleep for the past couple of months. So I don't mind trying something different. It won't be. It will be Michael Keane. Let's be very, very clear. Deitch will not bench Michael Keane. But I would at least like to see.
Interesting question for you.
Okay.
If you're going to do a combined 11 of the Leicester and Everton teams, how many of the Everton players would actually get in that combined team?
Oh man, let me just so I don't forget anybody on Leicester's squad. I mean, just on instinct, my first thought is 4 Everton players, but I just want to make sure I have Leicester's starting lineup right. So let me just have a quick look at who they might play. What about you? What would you say right away while I get this pulled up?
Yeah, I think. I think they're a better side than us in a general 1-11. I think obviously Tarkowski would probably play at centre back. I think Gana Gueye might get in the midfield.
You'd have Pickford in goal. That's my first thought.
Yeah, I think Pickford, and then maybe Coleman at fullback.
Okay. Leicester players that I would have in: Jamie Vardy, Harvey Barnes, James Maddison, Yori Tielemans, Castagna on defense. But honestly, Leicester's defense don't impress me, so I could see Tarkowski getting in. I I'd probably have McNeil, maybe 5. It might actually be split down the middle. Leicester aren't world beaters. They're not a great team.
No,
so it's a good question. I'd say maybe 4 and 5, depending on who's fit, because I'd put Iheanacho in there, but he's not fit. So of their current squad, it might actually be...
outfield players. I would probably say we would get 3 in, and Pickford.
3 in and Pickford. I'd give us 4, but that's stretching it a little bit.
It's stretching it, isn't it? That's what I mean. And this is the point, is that the reason why I said that is because at the start of the season, if you looked at Leicester, you would have put them as a top half, possibly top 8 team.
Right, because that's where they've been for the past 3 or 4 seasons.
But they're massively underperforming on the level of ability that they've got.
You could say that
about... Look at the Everton team, and I don't think we're underperforming. I think we're exactly where we are, because that's exactly where we are, like in terms of ability and players and all the rest of it. I don't think that we're underperforming. If we are, it's by maybe, maybe we could be sort of 15th, 16th, somewhere like that, maybe. Right. But I don't think we're massively underperforming. I think Leicester are massively underperforming. So I just think that, that the one thing that is going in our favour is their poor form this season and their lack of confidence. But it's countered by our own poor form and our own lack of confidence. So, yeah, we've got a shot. But,
we have to turn. We just have to turn up, Geoff. That's what I think what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
we have a shot because Leicester are a poor side. They're not a good side, but neither are we. And so we just have to show up.
Yeah, we've got a puncher's chance. But if they turn up in some kind of form and that front four gets going, like you said, I think we could easily concede 3 or 4 goals, no problem at all.
Weston's throwing his lineup.
I think we need to go for like a really, really tight, scrappy, hopefully nick a 1-0 win type performance. I don't see us outplaying anybody in this division, because I just don't think we're good enough to do that.
There is no chance on this planet we get a clean sheet tomorrow. Weston's thrown his lineup, and he has James Garner getting in, but he's dropped Idrissa Gana Gueye. Wezzo, I'm a little bit surprised to hear you say that, because of all of our not so great players of the last 3 weeks. Gana Gueye has actually, for me, been one of the better ones if you had to pick. So I'm surprised to see that. But maybe if I don't know if you just want to have him managing minutes, but that's surprising to me.
To me, it would be Ghana and then coin flip between Doucouré and Onana for the other midfield position, and then James Garner.
Yeah, Gana Gueye would be if I'm writing down my team sheet, Pickford's first, McNeil is Tarkowski's second, McNeil is third, and then honestly, Gana Gueye might be fourth. With obviously if DCL's fit as well, but I think you guys get where I'm going with that in terms of having a player on the pitch. Gana Gueye is kind of the term linchpin gets used often, but I mean I think we need him given his possessive qualities lately. But just my opinion, that's the beauty of this. A lot of folks have a bunch of different lineups, and I like that. That means that we might actually have options, which we haven't had in a little bit.
12 point teaser safe. Yeah, Becky.
What's Becky? Sorry, I'm a little behind. What's Becky said?
I think she said 12 points would see us safe. Yeah, it would definitely. But
oh, Ryan's in the comments. Jazz has put the Coke video back, the cake video back on. Jazz has been watching a lot of trash TV today, says Ryan. Which is pretty funny. All right, boys and girls.
The whole of Ghana. Yeah.
Boys and girls in the comments, give us you've given us lineup predictions, which we appreciate. Give us some score predictions as well. You can say whether you believe it with your head or whether you believe it with your heart, because mine are going to be massively different this week. I can tell you that. So get your score predictions in. Are we doing a phone in? If we do a phone in, I think that will be tomorrow. We'll have a post-match reaction, and then we will have a bit of a phone in as well. I don't think we'll be doing one today, but if you'd like to do that, we'll probably do one tomorrow. If I had to guess, hopefully it's one where we're positive and thinking that we have a shot. But
presuming that lucky thing fella is a Leicester fan.
Who's a Leicester fan? I'm behind.
I think that Lucky Singh, I think he's a Leicester fan because
We just
he
we
said
just
we just put Villa away, which I presume that
no
relates
no
to
no.
the.
That's a Man United fan, I believe.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Sorry.
They've won 1-0 today.
Ah, right. Got it.
I think that's the first time. I didn't see this, but I thought I saw a stat last week. I think this is the first time this season Villa had not scored under Unai Emery, and that's something like 20-21 games or whatever. So it's a good defensive performance from Man United, especially bouncing.
Apparently, they're missing their keeper.
Who, Villa?
And yeah,
No, Martinez didn't play today. I'm asking.
yeah, I thought he was out because I saw comments from some of the fans in there saying that they can't play out without him, and that's why they're struggling to score goals when he's not playing. So maybe I'm wrong on that, but
It looks like I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is accurate or not. He might have played, but either way,
I think I heard he was out, and that basically like he is the guy who starts all of their play, playing out from the back kind of situation,
right.
And without him in goal, they're not getting the ball forward quickly.
I refuse to believe that if a team can't score, it's because of their keeper. So I'm not giving them a pass for that.
No, I'm just going off.
Oh no! I know. I just meant that.
Yeah.
I meant that whoever says that just can't be true. I mean, you can't. That's just ridiculous. Whether he starts play or not, you should still have enough wherewithal in the midfield and Ollie Watkins up front to be able to score. But whatever the case is,
I don't watch Villa enough to know, but
I'm okay with not watching Villa. I watched Villa enough when they came to Goodison Park.
Yeah.
Sims has goals in him, yeah, but he's not even Sims isn't getting enough minutes. Own goal, 1-0 Everton. I'd be okay with that. Jazz would like to clarify she's done 3 clients and is now winding down with the cake video. She's done 3 clients. I think you guys need to have a talk about your relationship, Ryan, but that's totally up to you, mate. You certainly have no judgments from me. It looks like their keeper. It says Martinez did play. So,
oh, did he? Oh, right. Yeah.
Well. So now they're even worse. Leicester's injury. Somebody's asking about Leicester's injuries. There, Iheanacho's out and James Justin is out. Their defender. Other than that, Leicester are fit from the attacking perspective. All right, Geoff. Give me a score with your heart and give me a score with your head, mate. That says it all, doesn't it? We're clipping that one.
With my heart.
Thanks, James, for the subscription. Oh, by the way,
right. Okay, with my heart. Go ahead. Best case scenario, a sneaky 1-0 win to us. With my head, probably 3-1 to them.
With my heart, I'm saying 2-1 to Everton. With my head, I'm saying 4-0 to Leicester. And I really think that it could possibly be 4 or 5-0. I see us conceding early. I see us conceding.
Got so many threats up front.
It's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. That's all I'm saying. I'm not.
I hope I'm wrong too.
If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do that. Thank you, James, for the subscription. We certainly appreciate it. Smash that like button. Smash the notifications bell as well. Ryan has so graciously allowed me to start plugging my own channel, so I'll do that as well. If you haven't checked out Real Domino Chris on YouTube, that's my personal channel featuring podcasts, poker content, and much, much more. I'd certainly appreciate if you subbed to me personally as well. Listen, we're hoping for the best, whether you like our commentary or not. We're realists, but we're also massive Evertonians, and we want this club to win, but we've seen such dross lately in terms of possession and lack of creativity and ideas that we just don't know what to say anymore. We can say that we hope insert name here steps up, but until I see it, I don't really know. I can say that about all of our players. I hope someone steps up, but I just don't.
DCL steal a goal.
Yeah. That's about it?
No.
Man, does DCL score for you if we nick a 1-0 win?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That would be nice. I mean, he looked a little bit fitter in the last game, and he was unlucky with the offside decision. That because it was actually quite a nice, composed little chip over the keeper. Which could have got us back in the game, and I know Ryan said that maybe that it would have been different. I think they'd have stepped up in the second half regardless. But he was in the spot. He got the good run in. He clipped it over the keeper nice. Hopefully that shows signs that he's starting to get himself up to speed. So yeah, nice little 1-0 DCL scoring.
Yeah,
I'll take that all day.
Ryan actually makes a good point in the comments talking about Leicester do make mistakes.
Leicester
make mistakes on defense. So this will be quite an open game, you'd like to think. A lot of back and forth, a lot of quote unquote offensive attacking, just because the defense on both sides is so bad. I would like to sit here and say we're going to score goals.
I don't think I'm sure I saw something like a stat, and it's probably the death knell, but they haven't kept a clean sheet in the last like 20 odd games.
It has to have been a while, because I've been,
I think it was 22, 23 games since they last got a clean sheet. So
yeah, I'm not finding one very quickly. So it's been a while. Yeah.
So they're definitely a team that we could get at. So to me, it's all about the clean sheet. That to me is where the result. If we can keep a clean sheet tomorrow, we can win this game. But it's a big if.
And we'll leave it with that, boys and girls. I will be around an hour beforehand with the pre-match, I guess pre-match build-up, whatever you want to call it, when the team news comes out. Like I said, hopefully I see at least a little bit of optimism and positivity. And that, if I see Ben Godfrey on that sheet, I'm going to be a very upset person. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll probably be swearing and just be angry and start drinking on stream beforehand. But that sounds fair, right? I think.
You're going full Amy then.
That's fine. Might as well. People love Amy. So that might be a good shout. Shout out to Amy wherever you are. Hopefully you're not. Amy said she was. Yeah, I was gonna say Amy said she was drunk like 3 hours ago. So she's probably.
I know, yeah, she's on a train somewhere, so she's probably asleep by the side of the railway station somewhere.
I love it. All right, well, cheers everybody. Like I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed,
nice. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and up them effing Toffees.
Up them effing Toffees. We will see you. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Join us again tomorrow about an hour before the match. I'll get that on the schedule, and we will see you then. Come on, you Blues. We need it, buddies. See ya.